Austin, the Austin 316. And I think, hey, with all the marketing pressure put on Johnny Manziel, the money sign, and all that stuff selling jerseys, they might have something in Austin Davis. If you call him Stone Cold Austin Davis, I think it works. And imagine this, Matt. Okay, imagine it's Sunday afternoon, and they announce the lineup. Your starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns, and this hits. Stone Cold Austin Davis. You come out. He's flipping the bird to people, and he has Austin 316 on his helmet, on his hat, or something. And you get those signs going at First Energy Stadium. I just think that would be an absolutely tremendous marketing campaign. You have Austin 316 says, I just threw a touchdown. Something like that. How about that?
Well, let's hope he throws a few.
How about that? Would that not be phenomenal? Could you imagine Browns Austin 316 shirts going, signs up in the crowd? Like, come on, Cleveland, you can jump on that.
I guarantee you there will be at least one sign with that on
I hope
Sunday.
so.
It just happens to be. I mean, after what I saw on Monday night, I'm sure fans are going to be happy to say anything because on Monday night they said, I saw a sign in the end zone nearest the Browns locker room that says, well, we still got LeBron.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, boy. See, that's the scary thing is that this fan base was already apathetic towards the team heading into the season, and it's only gotten worse. And the scary thing is we still have 5 games to go, and 3 of them are at home. So I don't really have a whole lot of confidence that A, this team is going to turn it around, or B, this fan base is going to continue to stick with this team. They are so apathetic right now toward this franchise that I honestly think, in my heart of hearts, that on January 3rd, there will be 90% Steeler fans in First Energy Stadium.
Especially if it's cold. Yeah, why freeze your butt? Why freeze your butt off to go see a losing team there? But Matt, it's interesting because if you look at Austin Davis and the skill set, he's very Brian Hoyer-like. 6'2", weighs about 5, 6, 7 more pounds than him at around 221-ish. Undrafted guy and has quick release, good vision of the field, not the biggest arm, but is really looking for an opportunity, much like Brian Hoyer. He does things all the right way, great work ethic by all accounts. From I suppose probably the limited access you've had to Austin Davis because he's been a third stringer for the most part since being signed to the extension.
He's actually talked a lot.
Oh, really?
He's pretty much talked every week for the last 4 weeks.
Oh, so what type of guy is he?
Quiet, humble, extremely diligent. In talking to him and some of his teammates, the number 1, 2, and 3 thing on his list is to be over-prepared.
Wow.
He said
That's
he doesn't
new.
want to let anybody down because he wasn't prepared to do his job. He says he actually has almost like practically nightmares about being unprepared. So he will go the extra mile to do whatever is necessary to be in the film room, in the playbook, and he's very, very diligent. It seems to me that he may not have all the physical tools to play the quarterback. He's not 6'5", 235, but he is a cerebral quarterback, and he's going to try to beat you with his mind. And we'll see what he can do. I mean, he beat a Seattle team that was pretty darn good last year, if memory serves me right. So you have to look at that and say, well, at least you know he's going to be committed to the cause, which truthfully is probably reason number 1 why he's starting, because the Browns don't have a whole lot of faith in the other guy, that he is as committed to the cause as some of his teammates are. So I think that is the most important thing is, if he has success, it's going to be because he prepared like it. And you will be able to read more about about this in my article that's coming up later this weekend that I have coming out on WKYC.com/sports, is the fact that Austin Davis will do everything in his power to make sure come game day there are not any surprises on the field.
Wow. What a difference. Like, I wonder, I wish the same question could have been posed to Austin Davis going into the bye week that was posed to Johnny Manziel. Saying, hey, Austin, what are you going to do during your bye week? If he was being named the starter, I bet you he would not have left the facility, Matt, compared to Johnny, who's saying, I'll relax a little bit.
Yeah, it's two totally different mindsets. Austin Davis is a guy that knows he's hanging on the edge of the fact that he's already been released once. He was an undrafted free agent that had to earn his way the hard way. So he's not going to let opportunities go by the boards. Whereas Johnny, he's been given a lot by this franchise in the way of trust and opportunity. And he's just like, yeah, whatever. I'm a first-round pick.
Yeah.
I do all this crazy stuff, and they still let me start. So I'm just going to keep doing me. And that works for only so long before it starts to get old. And
Right.
I think that the coaching staff, it's old on them, but the front office, the guys like Alex Shiner and Ray Farmer and Jimmy Haslam are saying, hey, you still got to play this kid. He's a first-round pick. We think he's got a lot of talent. And the coaching staff's like, no, he doesn't. And even if he does, we can't trust him,
Yeah.
And I think that's where the difference lies is one guy feels entitled because the Browns, quite frankly, have let him feel entitled. And the other guy, he knows that at any given week he could be gone, and he's not liking that prospect. So he's going to fight his tail off to remain in the building.
Yeah, completely different mindset. And, of course, Josh McCown, the news coming out, broken collarbone. And, Matt, you just got to feel for Josh McCown. And you look at his record and his stats over his career, and they're underwhelming at best. But from seeing him, and you got to be a lot closer to him than the fans or than myself, is you just feel the leadership. You feel the passion. You see what he does on the field to compete at his age at 36. Like, he could mail it in. Like, that type, I think Josh McCown's going to make a great coordinator, maybe even a great head coach one day, because the inspiration that he can rally his teammates and demonstrates is flawless. Like, what a terrific human being and role model on that Browns team. And I'm actually kind of happy that he is out for the year, because I just don't know if he would be alive at the end of the year with all the concussions, and he played with broken ribs. Like, it's time to settle it down. But if he had the option, he'd still be out there.
Yeah, he's got the true heart of a warrior.
Yeah.
He's going to die with his boots on. He is going to fight till there is no fight left in him, literally. And he proved it on Monday.
He did.
When, again, he goes out there, he gets hurt, and he comes back into the game, he attempts 2 throws, and then he calls to the sidelines and says, I legitimately cannot go anymore. The man played with a broken collarbone.
Insane.
All right,
Insane.
For all intents and purposes, he played with a broken collarbone.
Wow.
Johnny couldn't play on a pulled hamstring last year in December when he was given the starting reins. And you got Josh McCown, who goes out there with a broken bone and several broken bones, as it turns out, because he later admitted he had broken ribs.
Yeah.
And continues to play. There is no bigger honor than having the respect of your teammates. And I don't think that there is a single guy in that locker room that could honestly look themselves in the mirror and say, I don't respect that man for everything he gave us. And that's why when on Wednesday when he addressed the media and I saw him walking out of the locker room, I felt compelled to stop and say something to him, because he literally did give everything that he had for a team that he doesn't owe anything to the city of Cleveland. He doesn't owe anything to the Browns organization. He's just a football player, but he's far more than just a football player. He is a true leader of men, and I would jump in the foxhole with Josh McCown anytime. Yeah. That man has earned my respect 1,000,000 times over, and I will go to my grave saying that is one of the toughest human beings that I've ever seen lace up a pair of football cleats.
No doubt. All right, let's get to the Cincinnati Bengals here. Sunday at First Energy Stadium, second of the 2 games. We know what happened the last time Johnny got beat, so a different starting quarterback for the Browns versus Bengals game here. You're listening to the Doghouse, your inside look at the Cleveland Browns, brought to you by DraftPot.com. DraftPot.com, go to sign up. When you are there, type in promo code Browns. They'll match up to $300 of your original deposit for their daily fantasy leagues. Okay, Matt, so for the Bengals, they had a little bit of a skid, 2-game losing streak, got back on track, thumped the real tough defense of the St. Louis Rams, 31-7. That was at home. The series against the Browns all-time 45-39 in favor of Cincinnati. The last time they met on November 5 in the jungle, 31-10 winners. They've had some injuries, but are for December. all purposes, they are relatively healthy. What's your take on this Bengals team since the last time we saw them?
They're the healthiest they've been this late in a season in a very, very long time. They did go on a little bit of a skid there, but they recovered nicely with a performance against the St. Louis Rams. I think they're as talented an offensive team as I can find in the league. They I won't say won't have him, but potentially Tyler Eifert, if he is able to play, will have a limited role. In listening to an interview with the Bengals play-by-play announcer last night, if it was a bigger game against a better team, Eifert would be pushing harder to play. But because the Bengals think they can beat the Browns, they've kind of said, hey, if you get on the field, great, but if you don't, we got this type of deal. So the Browns really don't have the respect of the Bengals.
Oh, why would they?
You're looking at Jeremy Hill, Giovanni Bernard, and A.J. Green, and Mohamed Sanu being the four main weapons offensively for Andy Dalton to get the ball to. And then defensively, they're healthy from a linebacker standpoint, which is huge because that's been a big question mark late in the years, the last couple of years. But they're fighting pretty close to on all cylinders, and they're going to be a tough out for this Browns team.
Yeah, no doubt. And at home, the fans could turn on pretty quick if they get down early. Now, Terrell Pryor, we mentioned it off the top, got re-signed to the team, trying to convert from quarterback to wide receiver, got cut, and is now back in the fold. I guess, and Patton said, hey, he's an emergency third quarterback. They want to work him in. But Matt, offensive coordinator John DeFilippo said he's not mentally ready this week, and even put it out there that he might not be ready for 2 or 3 weeks to actually make any sort of contribution on the field, which is a little shocking.
I just don't know why they didn't make the move around the bye week.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's somebody else at the bottom of the roster they could have gotten rid of if they really wanted to see if they had anything in Terrell Pryor. I mean, hell, just cut bait with Dwayne Bowe by now. I mean, he's not helping you, although now they can't because they really do need every available body at wide receiver with Gabriel and Hawkins still
won't
out
play.
in the concussion protocol. But, he still won't get many targets like you just said. I would have brought him in truthfully after the Thursday night game. If you were that set on bringing him back, bring him in for after the Thursday night game. He has 10 days to acclimate himself ahead of the Steelers. Then he gets a bye week, so he's got another week and a half to reacclimate himself. So that would be 20 days that you would have given him, and that's your 3 weeks right there. And then he'd be ready to play.
Now instead,
you're talking about him not playing until the Seattle game at the earliest on December 20th, and more than likely it's going to be the 27th against Kansas City. That being said, he'll probably be in uniform and catch like 5 balls on Sunday because the Browns just really don't have an option at this point.
Wow, who knows? Okay, Matt, let's get to our and we're going to get to the Twitter question to @AndyMC81 @MattFleurJancic at the end of the show in the Bark-Off. Do you feel Austin Davis, Stone Cold Austin Davis, can beat the Cincinnati Bengals this Sunday? But let's get to our DraftPot.com Daily Fantasy League player starters of the week. So the fantasy play of the week that you would put in your NFL fantasy roster for the Browns versus the Bengals. Matt, who do you go to first? Who's your starter for Cincinnati?
For the Cincinnati Bengals, it's Jeremy Hill. He hasn't had a 100-yard game yet this season, and the cure-all to that is playing the Browns, and I believe he will have plenty of opportunities if Eifert is in fact hampered by an injury or can't play, and A.J. Green draws double coverage, they're going to need to get somebody the ball, and Jeremy Hill is going to be right there ready for an opportunity to flourish. Yeah,
he's projected to have 12.14 fantasy points in PPR League there on DraftPot.com. A reminder as well, you can either do fan mode when you sign up, no salary cap limit, or traditional GM mode where you have a salary cap to pick your fantasy football team and go to sign up. When you do that, type in promo code Browns, and they'll match up to $300 of your deposit. Okay, Matt, who are you picking fantasy-wise for the Browns this Sunday?
Gary Barnidge.
Big play, Gare.
Gary Barnidge has been the only consistent offensive weapon that the Browns have had throughout the entire season. And he's already more than doubled his single-season career highs So I'm going with Big Play Gary. And on a side note, congratulations to Gary for being the team's Walter Payton Man of the Year award winner this year for his community activism.
That's pretty